QB. I can drive the lane, I can shoot the three. I can run ahead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Extra Point. My name is Lauro Antonio. Hope everybody is having a great Sunday. With me today is my guys, Ben Curse and Sammy Sharp. Isaiah Leong is not with us tonight, but maybe he could join later on our show tonight. So, Ben, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Laura. It was kind of a wild day, wild weekend. Obviously my Red Sox coming big this weekend, sweeping the Nationals, which we needed to. Got ourselves into a wild card play, top seed against the hated rival Yankees, so it should be fun. Obviously, the Brady game against Bill tonight in the rain, which I thought was kind of made it even more fun. Glad I wasn't there to be in the rain, but it was kind of an interesting game. Kind of a little boring, sluggish early on, and then things really started to. Even though it's kind of a low scoring game, a lot lower scoring than I expected. But got to see a friend of mine in Jersey this weekend, so I thought overall I had a pretty good weekend, Laura. And how about you guys? How are you guys doing?
And Sammy, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Laura. I lost a lot of money today on the Titans game, but you know what? It's all right. I got my first win in fantasy this week, so it all pays out in the end, I guess. How have you been, Laura?
I've been great, Sammy. I mean, it's been a crazy day today. I mean, the Dodgers just beat the Brewers, and then the Patriots just lost to Brady. So basically, it's been a crazy day. So before we get started here, we're going to go to our comment section. Jonathan Mathis is saying hello, and he's just said, "Hey guys," and he also said that, "Hey Sammy, how are you?" Hey Ben and Lauro, that's what he said. So let's get started here. Let's start with Thursday Night Football as the Jags took on the Cincinnati Bengals, and it was a rematch of the 2020 College Football National Championship game as Joe Burrow went up against Trevor Lawrence. And my takeaway is that my takeaways on that game was that I just thought that both quarterbacks played great, but the Bengals are the surprise team right now. And for the Jags, they have a lot of growing to do. So I think that the Jags will get better as the season goes on. Sammy, you're a college football expert. What was your takeaways on Joe Burrow going up against Trevor Lawrence?
More bragging rights for Joe Burrow. Going 2-0 against Trevor Lawrence. But I thought it looked like it looked like a college matchup almost, because Trevor Lawrence looked like the Clemson Trevor Lawrence that we almost expected to see. Picking apart the Bengals defense. I mean, the Bengals are a great defense, but he looked a lot better this week than he did the first couple weeks of the season. And as far as Joe Burrow looked like what we expected of Joe Burrow. I feel like he's one of the most underrated he's the biggest name, but he's one of the more underrated players. I think because he's on a bad team, but he loaded up. It was a great matchup, but I think that the better team came on top with the Bengals coming out on top with that victory.
And what about you, Ben? What was your thoughts on Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, I actually got the chance to do a little, I guess you could say, broadcast with a friend of mine. And it was a lot of fun. We actually watched the game and kind of did a little over Zoom and analyzed it. And yeah, it was a really good game. As myself, I guess you can kind of say the Bengals are, I'd say, my second favorite if I had to have a second favorite team, just because I have a lot of connections in Ohio. But yeah, they're great. They're playing good right now. But I agree with Sammy. The Jaguars definitely has something in Trevor Lawrence for sure. He was really impressive, I thought, on Thursday. Both guys are really good. Two young guys. It was a game of runs. It kind of started off in the first half. It looked like the Jaguars really had it. They were 14-0. And then they had a chance right before the halftime where they went for it on fourth down. They didn't get it. And then it looked like the Bengals basically took the momentum from there, tied it up. Joe Burrow, you guys said, he had a great game. Really stayed poised in the pocket. CJ Uzama, the tight end, had a really good game with 2 touchdowns. Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase, they have a lot of good weapons. This was all without T. Higgins. So they have a lot of good guys there. Their defense, I thought, had some really good things too. They did a lot of good things on that team. So it's a really good start for the Bengals and Zach Taylor, who I think a lot of people weren't really expecting, that much of this year. I know it's still a long season, but the Bengals are 3-1, regardless of kind of the way you say it. But Urban Meyer and the Jags, that was a tough one. Being up 14-0, but they stayed within reach. They played a really hard game. It just came down to a kick at the end, and Burrow was set up for a really good game-winning drive, and that's that. So I thought it was a really good game. Thursday night, so far this season, besides really that Panthers-Texans game, has been pretty good. So there's really not much to really complain about in this one.
There's certainly not. I mean, we have a lot of Sunday games to talk about, folks, but let's start with Sunday Night Football as the Buccaneers played the New England Patriots, and it came down to the wire, but Nick Folk is a good kicker, but I feel like that he missing that field goal off the crossbar, I think this one is going to be a tough pill to swallow, but Mac Jones had an amazing game. Tom Brady did too, but I just felt like that both teams played well, but in the end, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers survived this game. So, Ben, what was your overall thoughts on Brady's homecoming to Gillette Stadium?
Basically what I expected. I picked the Buccaneers. I picked them to win more like a 10, 15 point. I didn't really expect, the weather into a play here. I thought, but then Gronk was out. It was tough to see no Gronk out there. I gotta admit, that was one thing I did kind of miss tonight. But it just felt weird, seeing Brady, a guy that we love for 20 years, still love to this day, but just in a different uniform. So just him coming out of the tunnel on a different another sideline. But in the game play, it just kind of felt normal, I thought. And the Patriots did a really good job, I thought, in this game, despite the loss. You could say there's moral victories left and right. I thought they played much better than they did last week, to say the least, for sure. They had a couple turnovers here and there earlier on, but as the game went on, they really played much better. Defensively, I thought they played hard, and Brady didn't throw one touchdown in this game, which even in the rain, I could have made a bill with you that at least he'd throw one. So, with those weapons between Godwin and Evans, Tyler Johnson, even without Gronk, AB. So that was a really good showing from the Patriots defense. And the biggest storyline, Loro, and I got to say, it was Mac Jones, especially when those elements you didn't expect. Everybody was talking about Brady. Everybody was talking about Belichick. Mac Jones just came out to play. He had 2 touchdowns, 2 to the tight ends. Actually, the guys that we were kind of expecting to start balling out. And, he had 19 straight completions at one point, which he was just firing all cylinders. I think if you're a Patriot fan, yes, you're 1-3. Actually, the last time, crazy enough, the last time the Patriots were 1-3, they did win one Super Bowl, with obviously with Brady Belichick. So, I mean, miracles have happened before with that record. But regardless of the fact, you got to be really happy about this Patriots team. Now, with the Bucs and stuff, I thought they definitely, I thought, gave a lot of points out there. The red zone, they had a lot of chances to kind of pull away, and they gave the Patriots a chance to potentially win this one. So, it was really good just to see a chess match out there between the best quarterback and the best coach of all time. And it just came down to a field goal, which Nick Folk, I trusted in, and people were kind of questioning the play call, which I can see here and there. And just at the end, the Bucs ended up pulling away just by, as they say, a game of inches. So it is what happens. And, you just have to move on to next week. And, now the only good news about, I guess, this game, as much as it kind of hurts to kind of see it be done, is the talk and stuff will be all over, which I do kind of thought was getting old after a while. So, but it is what it is. I mean, it was a good one.
It was definitely a great game, that's for sure. So, Sammy, before we get to your thoughts on the Patriots game, so Jonathan Mathis said, "Thanks for the like and fan page follow, Sammy." That's what he wanted to say to you. So, anyways, what was your overall takeaways on Brady's homecoming to Foxborough?
I thought that I knew Belichick was going to have something cooked up for him. I figured it was going to be a low-scoring game because you're going to have Mac Jones on one side, and it's not every day that you're going to have a quarterback and head coach that were together for 20 years go against each other. Bill Belichick knows Brady just as well as any other coach, probably better than any other coach in the league. So I feel like if there's anybody that could slow him down, no matter the weapons, which we saw, it'd be Bill Belichick being able to find something, dial something in. And Brady did have a couple off throws that were way way ahead of the receiver, way behind the receiver. I saw a couple of them, but overall, I thought, I was really impressed with the Patriots keeping it close. Those is the type of game I kind of expected. A very conservative, and it wasn't as conservative game. Mac Jones. It looks like they're opening up the playbook a little bit more and more as the weeks progress. I saw a couple, crucial big throws that he made. So, it's nice to see that they're developing Mac Jones at a good pace instead of him rushing him in and trying to throw the whole offensive playbook in his face, and keeping between the tackles with having him attack the tight ends. Nelson, I feel like later in the season we're going to see a lot more Nelson Aguilar, a lot more vertical of a Patriots offense but as of right now, it's going to be more intermediate 15-yard, 20-yard throws. I haven't seen anything above that.
Yes, absolutely. So now, folks, let's talk about the Steelers and Packers game. As you know, the Green Bay Packers obviously beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's no surprise. And also, I heard today that Mike Tomlin said that he is not ready to bench Ben Roethlisberger. Sammy, I'm going to start with you on this one. What was your overall takeaways of the Pittsburgh Steelers losing to Green Bay?
It's no surprise. It was a surprise to me how close it was. I guess it shouldn't be a surprise to how close it was, because Pittsburgh, you never know where you're going to get. The Steelers are bad enough to where they could lose to any team in the league, and they're good enough to where they can catch any team, that isn't prepared. They can beat them. We saw that with the Bills week 1, and we've seen 3 games in a row where they haven't gotten a second touchdown. Or I think they did get a late touchdown, but for 3 quarters they were shut out basically. They had the opening drive, and that was it until the late 4th quarter. So the Steelers, I don't know if they're going to bench Big Ben. He definitely missed a couple of big throws, 2 easy touchdowns to Juju Smith. It's a bummer, and I want to give a shout out to John Mathis for commenting. Thank you, I appreciate the support, buddy.
All right, now back to our comments section. We're going to go to Casey King. So Casey King also says, good evening, guys. And he also wanted to say that tonight's Patriots and Buccaneers game was a great game, and it could have gone either way. He also said, no surprise on the Packers beating the Steelers. Like I said before, Steelers need to rebuild. Definitely agree. Time for them to start Dwayne Haskins. I think he's definitely going to be their starting quarterback next season. So anyways, folks, let's now talk about the Seahawks and 49ers. If Isaiah were to join us today, he would have given us his analyst on that. But let's go ahead and talk about that game. And Isaiah, if you're listening, we're going to be giving our takeaways on this game. And also, Jimmy Garoppolo left this game, and also he got hurt. And in comes Trey Lance, a.k.a. the Trey area. But the Seahawks survived 28-21. And I'll tell you what, Garoppolo is probably going to be out for a while. Trey Lance is going to be starting, and Russell Wilson continues to show resiliency, and the Seahawks definitely needed a win today. So, Ben, you're familiar with Jimmy Garoppolo. What was your takeaways on the Seahawks and 49ers game? So I bet Isaiah can't wait to hear what we have to say about this game.
Yeah, Isaiah, if you are tuning in, I'm sorry, buddy, to hear about this. I know that you've had to work two tough ones. Don't worry. It's been tough lately as Pats fans right now, so, we're in the same boat. But, Jimmy G went down. I didn't get to watch a bunch of that game, but Russell Wilson looked really good. 24-17, I believe, was final, right?
It was 28-21. Seattle.
28-21, okay. Well, yeah, it was a good – that seemed like a really good game. And, yeah, Trey Lance has gotten his chance, and I think that overall he's definitely bought in. Deebo Samuel definitely for sure has looked really good so far this year. And if he can stay healthy, he's for sure a difference maker. That definitely is – those two teams are definitely going to be really good down the road. And, that game itself could definitely be a game that we could potentially see down the wire later in the season, because I think both teams are pretty evenly well matched. And one team, of course, had to come out top, and today was Seattle.
And then also, Sammy, what was your takeaways on the 49ers and Seahawks game?
You know what? It was a really promising game if you're a fan of the 49ers and if you're a fan of Trey Lance. I came into this past draft and I said that I feel like Trey Lance had the highest ceiling of any of the quarterbacks right now. I don't think he was ready, but I think of all the ceilings of the quarterbacks that were in the draft, Trey Lance had the highest ceiling. And he showed today, there was a couple inconsistencies, quite a few actually. But we saw that arm. We saw the 76-yard touchdown to Deebo Samuel, and we see potential there. I think as long as Trey Lance is developing, he potentially. I think that he could be better than even Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence is right now. I know those are on two completely worse teams, but right now with how we're looking, if he can develop and be a lot more consistent on a down-to-down basis, I think he could be surpass those two already for this year's draft class.
He sure can. I mean, if you look at it here, I mean, I think that the Niners were very good today. So, anyways, folks, let's talk about the LA Rams right now. It was a disappointing loss for the Rams, 37-20. I was thinking, like, when I was looking at that score, I was like, the Rams are down big, but don't underestimate Matthew Stafford. Just because I thought that Stafford was going to get a game-winning drive together and still beat the Arizona Cardinals. But Sean McVay suffered his first career loss against the St. Louis Cardinals as the LA Rams head coach. But you know what? I was told today that the Rams just did not look great today, and they just did not even play. They were not in their A game today. So, anyway, Sammy, I'm going to go with you on this one. So, what was your takeaways on the Rams losing to the Cardinals in blowout fashion?
The Rams were one of the few teams right now I think can beat the Bucs in the NFC Championship. I think them and the Packers are real threats to the Bucs. And after today, seeing how Kyler Murray tore apart that defense and the Cardinals did, and James Conner again with 2 touchdowns. I mean, he's becoming a lot more of an asset for the Cardinals as they're starting to work him in. But I was genuinely shocked that the Cardinals scored 30+ against the LA Rams defense. And not only that, the Rams for 3 quarters could not really get anything going. I do believe it was closed out the end. I do believe it was like a 3-score game though through a majority of the game. It was a blowout for most of the game. So, I was genuinely shocked. I thought if anything it was going to be a blowout, it'd be on the, in this favor of the Rams. But, as we've seen, the Cardinals showed up today. Kyler Murray, he's looking a lot better. I feel like Kyler Murray, when he's playing at his best, there's very few players on the same level as him. I think he's on the same level of a Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, when those guys are playing at the best, as some of the best passer QBs in the league and improvisers in the league.
And what about you, Ben? What was your takeaways on the Cardinals and LA Rams game?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at this right here. Cardinals are 4-0. I'm not obviously that crazy in terms of their hype. I know that Kyler's been balling, and I love Kyler as a player. I think he's a really dynamic, great player. But I'm really surprised in terms of their defense. Their defense has really been doing good. I mean, only holding the Rams to 20 points offensively is pretty good, especially with the way that the Rams were able to handle that Bucs defense. Even though I think the Bucs defense has been, as we saw tonight, still I think the Bucs defense, their secondary has a lot of problems, especially if they're injured. But yeah, I mean, going to a really good, tough place in LA, really good environment there, and coming out on top not only by a little bit, but 17 points is a pretty good margin. So yeah, I still think that the Rams team is really legit, and this Cardinals team definitely has. I mean, I said that I don't buy into them much, but I do think that there is something there. You don't play this team, on a bad day, you're going to get punched in the mouth. I think for sure it's definitely going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting, but Casey King has also said something about this game. He also said, geez, very disappointed in the Rams today as they went Higgins on both sides of the football. But he also said, and added that, but losses like this happen, but move forward and still a lot of football left. Yes, I give the Cards their props, and they are better this year, but still long ways to go, and the NFC West will be a battle till the end. I definitely agree on that. And he also said, let's see how it plays out going forward. And he also can't believe that he's going to say this, but go Niners next weekend versus the Cardinals. And as for my Rams, I think they will bounce back next week, and I think they will. I mean, the Rams after coming off losses, I think this team is definitely the team to beat in the NFC West, but I think it's going to be a very, very tough race. So, anyways, folks, let's talk about the Week 4 shocker. So, anyways.
And Laura, I just have one thing quickly. So I know the Patriots-Buccaneers game right now. Bill Belichick has been waiting for about 25 minutes for Brady to come out of the locker room to talk to him. So I'll keep an eye in terms of what happens there. But that's definitely good for Billy to wait and see.
Yes, absolutely. So, anyways, now let's talk about our Week 4 shocker. So, basically, the Week 4 shocker was the Tennessee Titans losing to the New York Jets 24-27, and it was embarrassing because I thought Tennessee would just go in there and win this game without Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, and that Derrick Henry would just run the ball all over the New York Jets defense. But credit to Robert Saleh and the Jets for winning this game. So, Ben, we both love Mike Vrabel. What was your thoughts on the Jets stunning the Titans? And I tell you what, this was the Week 4 shocker.
Yeah, I think that the Titans without Julio Jones and A.J. Brown really played a factor in this one. I did watch actually a bunch of this game on the way home from my trip in Jersey before I got home, and got the chance to watch it when I got home as well, too. And I really thought that Zach Wilson that second half probably played his best football so far this season. Just looking very poised out there, using Corey Davis to his advantage really well, and extending plays. That Titans defense was for sure flying around early on in that game, and I thought Zach Wilson really held on to the challenge. And I thought that the Titans still had a chance to still win that game. And of course, for the Jets, good for them. And New York sports for sure definitely look really good today between the Yankees, of course, going to the playoffs, and the Giants winning the Jets. There's not many times like that around here that I hear about that, but yeah, definitely for sure. It was for sure. Yeah. So it was a good one for the Jets. Of course that was good.
It was because they were coming off a very tough. They had a very tough schedule to begin, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So, Sammy, what was your thoughts on that Week 4 shocker between the Jets and the Jets stunning the Titans?
Well, one thing that burned the Titans was the poor defense. We saw Zach Wilson come to life this week and outplay a lot of expectations. I don't think without that performance that that Zach Wilson did, that they would have won this week. So, it's definitely, I feel like that definitely draft pick for Zach Wilson is paying off right now. We'll have to see how it continues. I'm not sure how long this hype will last, though. I feel like that, it was a bad matchup for Tennessee with losing to their top two wide receivers, forcing themselves to be one-dimensional with Derrick Henry. And, with a poor pass defense, it was all it all crumbled at the end with how Tennessee, they're up by, I think, 21-14 at one point. It all crumbled out at the end, though, in OT.
It did crumble.
Guys,
go ahead, Ben.
Quick thing that I just read. So Brady is part of doing his thing right now, and a lot of the things that Brady's been saying is the relationship between him and Bill have been completely inaccurate in terms of their relationship. So all the people out there saying the reason why Brady left because of Bill, you just really got to stop with the narrative for sure. That's definitely not true. And I know for sure this week it wasn't. So
it was not. You're absolutely right. I mean, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have had they're very close. They have respect for each other. And I just think that those reports were just not true. just to
Nope.
be honest. So Brady just decided to move on because he left the Patriots because he just didn't have an enough supporting cast, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And he won a new challenge, which is fine, you know. It happens.
so now let's talk about another Week 4 shocker was the New York Giants beating the New Orleans Saints in the Bayou. And I thought that the Saints would just come in and just blow the gas on the New York Giants. But credit Joe Judge for pulling this team together and getting a win here. Ben, you and I both love Joe Judge, and he is very close with Bill Belichick and Nick Saban. And credit the Giants for winning this football game.
Yeah, like I said, New York sports really did it good today, and the Giants were down quite a bit in this game. I did watch some of this game as well, and they came out on top. You know, Daniel Jones, I think the first couple weeks has looked really good. He had a tough one last week against the Falcons, so they had a game-winning field goal. The week before, they had actually back-to-back games. They had game-winning field goals against them, so they were able to go into New Orleans and be able to win this game. And Barkley looked really good. He had a touchdown for 54 yards. Daniel Jones threw for over 300 yards. His second consecutive game, I believe, over 300 yards. So, yeah, give a lot of credit to Joe Judge. They, of course, haven't had a very easy year this year. And, you know, they needed to find a way to win. And they were able to go into a really good environment and find that way to get the job done there. So, good for them.
It was definitely good for the Giants there, that's for sure. But Sammy, did you think that the Saints and Giants game was a Week 4 shocker too?
Not that much. Like I said before, Jameis Winston. There's two different types of Jameis Winston. You get the one that is, guns a-blazing. You see all the talent, why he was selected number 1 overall. And then you have this other Jameis Winston who turns over the ball and is not too accurate, but it still has that arm. And one thing that really stuck out to me on the Giants game was the performance of Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones lit up the Saints pass defense this week. I don't think a lot of people expected him to perform like that. And I think that if he can continue to do this, the Giants are going to be contenders at the end of the year for the NFC East championship or for the NFC East title, because Daniel Jones and the weapons that Daniel Jones has in Saquon Barkley and how they could utilize him if he's consistent. I think they're a really good team and one of the dark horses of the NFC East.
They could be, but I mean, we'll just have to wait and see on that. But next thing we're going to talk about here is we're going to have a preview of Monday Night Football tomorrow as the Las Vegas Raiders take on the LA Chargers. I'm going to go first in this one. I really think that we're going to see another good football game tomorrow and in LA. And I'm excited to be calling this game tomorrow in the ColorCast app. So give me the LA Chargers to win this game. I think they're going to win by a point. I think this game's going to go to overtime, but it would not surprise me if the Raiders win this game. So, Sammy, who's your pick between the Raiders and the Chargers?
I'm going to go with the Raiders. I think it's going to be a high-scoring matchup, but I think the Raiders have a better defense between the two. I don't think either of them have a great defense, even though the Chargers forced 4 turnovers last week against the Chiefs. I'm still going to think the Raiders have the better defense, and I'm going to pick them in this matchup.
And what about you, Ben? Who's your pick to win between the Chargers and the Raiders?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about this matchup, not going to lie. Both teams, the Chargers, they have a great quarterback in Justin Herbert. You look at the Raiders, I think Derek Carr is one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks in this league. I agree with Sammy too. I think really the Raiders defense has really surprised me so far this year. I think they've done a pretty good job as a whole. I think that they added some pieces to that mix. Their front looks a lot better. Their secondary, they have some guys working there too. So this could be a really good game. I'm really excited actually for this one. When I looked before the season, I looked at a lot of the Monday night, football matchups, and this was definitely one that I was really excited about. So hopefully it lives up to the hype. And I'd probably go with the Raiders to come out on top, but it could really be either way. I can And I could really see it being a coin flip because I think both quarterbacks are pretty good, and it'll come down probably to the wire. So I'm probably gonna go Raiders here though in this matchup.
I agree. I think that the Chargers will find a way to win this game. So, anyways, we'll just have to wait and see on that. So, folks, now we're moving on here to our Week 5 preview and picks. So, anyways, folks, let's start off with Thursday Night Football in Seattle, as the Seattle Seahawks will take on the LA Rams. And I think it's going to be a tough test for the Rams because they're going to be playing in a very tough environment. It's not going to be easy for the Rams, but for the Seahawks, I think that the Seahawks are definitely going to try to get their first home win of the season. So I'm going to say the LA Rams are going to come out on top on Thursday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks. So, Ben, what about you?
Which game? The Rams Seahawks?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, this should be a good one too. I feel like I've been, saying a lot of good games, but to be real, that there are a lot of good games this season. 17 games, especially too. You expected it. So, Russell Wilson, coming off a big win against a good defense in 49ers. They're playing another good defense here against the Rams. So it should be a really good one. I'm probably going to go with being the Rams in Seattle. Give me the Seahawks. I think that the Rams are going to play a really good game. I could really see this being like a 28-21 type of game. I think just the 12-man Thursday night short, well, the thing is they're going to be both on the West Coast. So then it's not like it's going to be a travel. I was kind of considering maybe travel could be an impact too. But, for Casey that's tuned in, I know he's a Ram fan, but I think Casey's going to be a good one. And for Laura and Sammy, for us talking here, give me the Seahawks, but I think that it can come down the wire like the game tomorrow night, and we'll see what happens.
And Sammy, who's your pick between the Rams and Seahawks Thursday Night Football?
I'm going to go with the better team. I think the Rams are going to win this because they're going to be very motivated after the loss this week and how bad they got beat. Because the scoreboard says it was a lot closer than what the game was. And I think the Rams are going to take that and push it throughout their motivation this week in a short week. And I think Seattle, I think that they're a good team and they do have the 12th man, but I do not think they're as good as the Rams are. I think right now it's going to be Russell Wilson running for his life type of deal because the Seahawks offensive line isn't that great. And the Seahawks defense is not the same as what it used to be. So, I'm going to go with the Rams on this one.
All right. Now, let's talk about who is winning. And let's start with the first Sunday game of Week 5 as the NFL makes its return to London. So, the New York Jets will take on the Atlanta Falcons on the NFL Network's London game special. So, I'm going to say this. Give me the Atlanta Falcons to win this game. I don't really like the Jets. I like Zach Wilson, though. I think both offenses are going to play really well. But just give me the Falcons. Matt Ryan, Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts. I think that's going to be a very, very explosive day for the Atlanta offense. But I think it's going to be very high. I think this game is going to be high scoring. Ben, what do you think, and who do you like in this game, and why?
Give me the Jets. I really like how the Jets played today, coming back, persevering. I'm still not that high on Atlanta at all. I think that they give up a lot of points. I think this could be another big game for Zach Wilson. I think that defense for the Jets are definitely played a lot better today, and if they get a lot of guys back, stay healthy, I think that they can create havoc for an older quarterback in Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan's a good quarterback, but I think that, you just worry about Calvin Ridley, try to shadow in on Kyle Pitts. And I just don't know how much they have besides that. But I look at that defense for Atlanta, I'm not too high on them. And so I think that the Jets can find a way to win this game. And I guess you could say pull off the upset. But, they're two teams that are kind of, I think, really similar to each other. But, we'll see what happens. And with it being a 9:30 game, too, of course, that makes a big factor for both teams traveling, and see what happens.
And what about you, Sammy? Who's your pick to win between the Falcons and Jets?
I'm gonna go with the Falcons. Right now, Cordell Patterson has really shined in that Falcons offense, and I think that's one of the few things that the Falcons have going on. I think the Falcons have the more experienced quarterback. They're both not very good teams, but I'm just gonna pick with the Falcons because I'm not sure if the Jets can repeat the type of performance that they had. That also, I think that they won this week in part of injuries on the Titans side. So I don't think they're as good as their record says, even though the record says they're 1-3 or 1-2. I think that right now the Jets are not that good, and the Falcons are also not that good. But I think they're good enough to beat a team like the Jets.
All right, so folks, let's talk about this next game. The New England Patriots, after coming off a very good game over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady.
It was a win,
but
it was this close. It was a game of inches, as they say. But
they're going to take on a Houston. They're going to take on a Houston Texans team that is a bit shorthanded. They have Davis Mills at quarterback, and then you also have former Patriots as Brandon Cooks and Danny Amendola. So those are going to be some players to watch here. So Ben and I will be talking about that on Tuesday on Loro and Friends Inside the NFL on the Loro Sports Pod YouTube channel. So Ben and I will dive more deep into that game and talk about some Patriots and Texans connections, such as Romeo Cornell, who's currently on the Texans coaching staff. Nick Caserio is the general manager of the Houston Texans. And you got Danny Amendola and Brandon Cooks and Rex Burkhead, part of the Houston Texans, who we currently miss on that team. And also Ryan Izzo, too. So, anyways, Mac Jones and that Patriots offense, they should figure out this Houston defense because the Texans got exposed by the Bills. They got blown out. And I think the Texans are going to be getting blown out again by the Patriots, but I'm not going to underestimate the Texans if Davis Mills has a good game because, Bill Belichick makes rookie quarterbacks look very, very bad. So give me the Patriots in this game because I think Mac Jones is going to have a field day against that Houston defense. Ben, I know you're going to talk about that Mac Jones is going to have a field day against the Houston defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 1-3 record. People could be panicking left and right, and people have the deserve to. But you look at it, they played a really good Saints team. They played a really good Bucs team, both at home. So they're 0-3 at home, and it's tough because you're always used to seeing the Patriots really win at home. Well, with Brady, but that's obviously besides the point. Brady and Bill are almost unmatchable at home together, but that's just another story for another day. But this should be a really good one. I'm not too really high on the Texans at all. I mean, if they had Deshaun Watson, we really struggle all the time against Deshaun Watson. So I think that's a huge break. Last 2 years, we obviously lost to the Texans because Deshaun just went off and we couldn't stop them. But I think, with a quarterback in Davis Mills, I think this could be like a 24-13. The way our offense played tonight, if our offense plays like they did tonight, Laura, I think we're good. I think we just play a conservative game, run the football, score points. I know Nick Folk missed that field goal, but it was a 53-yarder in the rain. I mean, they could have went for it. It was kind of but he's been really good overall. So, I mean, if you play good, special teams, your offensive line still has to figure out if Trent Brown will ever play again, because that would be nice. But, and the thing about Josh is he let Matt cook, 19 straight completions. I mean, that's what you got to do for a quarterback. The running game has to figure it out, though. They have at least have some type of balance there. But there's a lot, I feel like the moral victory is, of course, you'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. But, this future, of course, is bright. And, of course, there's a lot to look forward to besides maybe this really rough patch and tough start. But I think the Pats do come out and win this game and try to force themselves to 3-3 when they come home against a really good Dallas team.
They should do that, absolutely. So anyway, Sammy, who's your pick between the Patriots and Texans?
I think it'll be the Patriots in a close game. I think this will be Davis Mills' breakout game. No, I'm joking. I think that Davis Mills is going to play as well as he did this past week. The Texans right now don't trust him at all. He's passing it at the bare minimum if the Texans can help it, only on third down. And right now, I think that's going to hamper the Texans right now. And I think the Patriots are going to easily win this game, a lot easier than even their last win. So I think this will probably be one of those gimme wins for the Patriots that they need to win.
They definitely need to win that, that's for sure. So now the next game we're going to talk about is the Cincinnati Bengals are taking on the Green Bay Packers. The Bengals are playing really good football right now. And the Packers, I think they are just playing like they're mad after that week 1 loss. So anyways, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers to win this game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to set up another game-winning drive. Mason Crosby kicks a field goal. I say it's going to be 34-31 Packers over the Cincinnati Bengals. And Sammy, who's your pick between the Packers and the Bengals?
I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I think the Packers defense is very legitimate, but I do not think that the Packers are going to be slowed down. The Steelers have a very, very good defense, especially when TJ Watt's in there, and the Packers still scored almost 30 points on the Steelers. And I don't think the Bengals defense is even close, in my opinion, not even close to the Steelers. So I'm gonna pick 34, but I don't think the Bengals are gonna score as much because the Packers have a very underrated defense. When they're healthy, this defense is very one of the better defenses in the league. So I think I'm gonna pick the Packers with a double-digit favorite.
And Ben, what about you? Who's your pick to win between the Packers and the Bengals?
I'm going to go underdog. I'm going to go Cincy. I really like the way that they've been playing. They're playing at home. They're playing at Lambeau. I'd probably go Green Bay in that game. But, I think, the way that Joe Burrow's playing and, that defense, I think, can definitely give, Rodgers a game for it. If it's a close one, I mean, why not give the Bengals a chance to win this one? As Sammy's probably alluded to, I think that Green Bay does have a really good, their team is really good. And, obviously they beat a really good Steelers team today. And, but yeah, I'm going to go the Bengals in this one. I'm going to go with the upset.
Okay. So anyways, now let's talk about who is going to win. So anyways, now folks, so let's talk about who's going to win between the Lions and the Vikings. So my thoughts on this game is that Detroit always fights hard until the end, but today wasn't their day. I mean, they got blown out by the Bears and Justin Herbert, but Kirk Cousins and the Vikings suffered a narrow loss to the Cleveland Browns. But I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. I want to see Jared Goff get a win in Detroit finally, but also Dan Campbell getting his first win as a head coach. But give me the Lions to win this game over the Vikings. Ben, what about you?
Lions and Vikings?
Yes.
Is it in Detroit?
Minnesota.
All right. Yeah, give me the Vikings. I just think that the Lions don't really score a lot offensively. They didn't seem like they did a whole lot today against the Bears, and the Bears have kind of been shaky lately. Justin Fields had a really poor game the game before. He played really well today. We might be able to talk about a little bit about today about Justin Fields, but I think that the Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins overall has played decently. I don't know who won that game, the Viking game today. Browns won today, so they didn't really score a lot today. But I think overall, I think the Vikings are a lot better equipped team, and I'm going to go with them in this one over the Lions.
All right. So, anyways, Sammy, who's your pick between the Lions and the Vikings?
I'm going to pick the Vikings. I think the Lions, again, are a good team, and I think they had a bad game this week. But I think right now, just how we saw them keep up with the Browns and their defense, the Vikings defense was really stagnant against the superpowered Cleveland Browns with all their stars back. I'm going to pick the Vikings just because of that defense. And I'm not sure how well the Lions defense can hold off, Dalvin Cook and and Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen and company.
All right, folks. Now let's talk about our next game. The New Orleans Saints take on the Washington football team. And I think it's going to be a battle of which defense is going to make the stop. But, I mean, I'm going to say here, I'm going to go with the Washington football team. I think that they played great against the Atlanta Falcons, and I expect them to play great against the Saints again. And I'm just not sure about Jameis Winston right now. So, anyway, Sammy, who's your pick to win between the Saints and the Washington football team?
I think the Washington football team, I would pick them. I think right now Taylor Heinicke is playing very out of his mind, actually, compared to our expectations. And the Washington football team has a very good defense and company. Those two things that complement each other. A very good quarterback performance, and a really good defense. You're going to win more times than not. So I'm going to pick the Washington football team over the Saints.
And what about you, Ben?
Is it in New Orleans?
It's in Washington.
It's in Washington. Yeah, I'd probably go Washington too. Being there, like Sammy said, I think that Heineke's done enough to be a very serviceable quarterback. But as long as he limits the mistakes against a really good defense, and they have really good defensive players, Sweat and Allen and Young, of course. William Jackson and a couple of guys in that secondary. I think they'll win this one, a close one.
Absolutely. So, anyways, folks, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, things are not going so well for the Miami Dolphins, and I'm going to say it's because Tua's out and Jacoby Brissett. I thought from what I saw on the score sheet, the Miami Dolphins competed against the Colts, but at the same time, the Colts definitely needed a win, but a lot of people were like, was this on Brian Flores? I'm like, no, it's not Brian Flores' fault. I just think that the Dolphins are not with Tua right now, and I think that the Dolphins are going to lose some games without him, but I do expect the Dolphins to get better when Tua comes back. And I do think that the Dolphins have a lot of weapons for him, especially Jalen Waddle. Then Will Fuller just can't stay healthy for crying out loud. And then Devontae Parker is their best receiver, and then you got Mike Gesicki. But I do think that the Miami Dolphins will still somehow find a way to get back into that playoff mix. So give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game, because I just think that Dolphins are without Tua. He's going to be back in their London game in week 6, so expect that to happen. But I do expect the Dolphins to somehow find a way to start winning ball games when Tua is healthy, and the Dolphins have a much easier schedule down the road. Ben, who's your pick between the Buccaneers and the Dolphins?
Brady. So you know what that means, bro. I think Tampa Bay. Yeah, I think that Dolphins going there. Dolphins definitely they got a lot of problems right now with their team. I do like Brissett. Love me some Jacoby Brissett, of course. He's a former Patriot, but I just think that they have a lot of things just, kind of all over the place, really. Giving up a bunch of points, leaving it, turn the ball over, bunch of stuff here and there. So, I think Brady, didn't. I'm not saying he didn't play great tonight. I just feel like he knows for sure that he left a lot of points. I mean, they only scored 19 points tonight. I mean, that's a big win for usually more times than not. That's usually a big win for the Pats. Of course, it's a field goal away from potentially winning it. We never know with Brady, of course, down the road, down the rest of the game. But I think that they definitely play a lot better than they did tonight, even though they won. Going back to Tampa, of course, is huge. Give me the Bucs.
And what about you, Sammy? Who's your pick to win between the Dolphins and the Buccaneers?
Well, Loro, I'm not as high on Tua as you are, but I don't think Tua is that much better than Jacoby Brissett. So when I see the Dolphins losing to teams that, like the Colts, who have had struggling getting the QB position going, even though they're a very solid team, they have not gotten the quarterback position going yet. If I'm a Dolphin fan and if I'm the Dolphins, I'm looking around and looking at other things, because here's the thing: you're supposed to be competing for the playoffs this year. This is a playoff. This is a potential wild card team. The defense isn't what it was last year, and we're seeing a lot more inconsistencies from the quarterback position. So if this is a must win for the Dolphins, but I don't think they're going to get it because it's Tom Brady. If Gronk will be back, he'll be another.
I hope Gronk is back.
Yeah, so that's going to be another weapon. Antonio Brown, we saw, didn't get a lot of shine this week, but I think that he'll be a lot more integrated into next week's game plan. And then on top of that, they already have Chris Godwin and they have Mike Evans. So they have abundance of weapons. Not to mention Leonard Fournette on top of all that. So I think that the Buccaneers. I'm going to pick the Buccaneers in this matchup.
Yeah, Steps. I mean, it would surprise me if Jacoby Brissett came into Tampa and beat the Buccaneers, but I just don't think it's going to happen. But hey, you never know. It's the NFL.
A former a backup to Brady going against him. Gotta talk about fun.
Yeah, wish it was
Right?
Tua versus Brady though, but I can't wait for when Tua.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I can't wait for when Tua Tagovailoa is back. Just because for me,
Mm.
I just think that the Dolphins are going to take off when Tua's back.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's of course it's a big if, but
Now
I like
let's.
Brian Flores a lot.
Me too. So now let's talk about who's winning between the Broncos and the Steelers. So, folks, when you look at both teams here, the Broncos just lost to the Ravens, and I think that this is going to be their downfall now. And for the Steelers, I think the Steelers, I think they need this win badly. So give me the Steelers in this game. I just think that Denver's right now pretenders. So, Sammy, I'm going to go with you in this one. Who should pick between your Pittsburgh Steelers and the Denver Broncos?
Well, the Steelers are at home. Historically, under Mike Tomlin, this is a good sign. Mike Tomlin's has a 65 to 7, almost 70% win percentage at home. Especially with Renegade and what gets the crowd going. The stuff that they usually do. I'm gonna pick the Steelers, but at the same time, I'm gonna say I would not be surprised if the Steelers found a way to lose that game. Like I said before, they're good enough to beat a lot of really good teams, and they're also bad enough to lose to even. I feel like the Jets could even, find a way to beat the Steelers at the rate that they are because they cannot move the ball consistently down the field.
Absolutely. I mean, what about you, Ben? Who's your pick between the Steelers and the Broncos?
You know what, Sammy? Your team. I'm going Pittsburgh. I think Denver. They won today. Okay.
They lost to the Ravens badly.
They did lose. They did lose to the Ravens. 23-7.
Yes.
All right. So it just seemed like they then struggled against a really good team, a really good defense, and I think Pittsburgh does have a good defense. Now, is it in Pittsburgh or is it in Denver?
It's in Pittsburgh.
It's in Pittsburgh. So, all right, so that's even bigger. That's a win. Going to Pittsburgh, I think I'm not saying that's guaranteed at all by any means, but I think that Big Ben plays his game well. They've had good wins against Denver, I believe, in the past too. So I feel like I'm not saying that they have their number, but I do think that they can win this one. And I'm going to Pittsburgh in this one.
All right, folks. Now let's talk about who's winning between the Eagles and the Panthers. So I don't really trust the Eagles right now. The Eagles look pretty bad at this point. But give me the Carolina Panthers in this game. Sam Darnold's playing very well right now. And I feel like that the Eagles are going to continue to grow. They're in growing pains right now, but I do believe that Jalen Hurts is their guy. So, Ben, who's your pick between Darnold versus Hurts?
I'm going to go Sam Darnold. I really like the Eagles, I think, play hard. You saw it today. I thought they played hard for a lot of the game I watched, but of course Mahomes really just balled out like he does a lot of the time. But their defense has a lot of issues. I think that the Eagles defense, they of course gave up 40 today. They given up a lot of high numbers. They gave up a big number to Dallas, and I think that the Panthers, I don't know if they can score a lot, but I do think that they can win this game. Pull it out. Just play smart, and Darnold plays well. So yeah, give me the Panthers.
All right, so folks, now let's talk about who is going to win who's going to win between the. So let's go to Sammy on this one. Who's your pick between the Panthers and the Panthers and the Eagles?
I'm going to go with the Eagles. Jalen Hurts has really surprised me this year with how consistent. He's been a lot more consistent than he was even last year. So, Jalen Hurts has been one of my pleasant surprises for the Eagles. I think right now the Eagles can get things going. Sam Darnold, I think that his magic kind of ran out this week. Even though he didn't have a bad performance, I think that it's not going to have the same stigma. I'm going to pick the Eagles this week against the Panthers.
All right. So what about you, Ben? So I already went to you, Ben. So anyways, folks. So now talking about our last 10 a.m. Pacific time game. So the Tennessee Titans are taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Give me the Tennessee Titans in this game. I think that Derrick Henry is going to ball out in this game. So anyways.
Titans and who again?
Jaguars.
Yeah. I mean, as long as AJ Brown and Julio come back, but even without them, I think that Jacksonville just has so many things just that they have a lot of things they're just not all tied up together. I like Urban Meyer. I think that he's a good coach, but there's a lot to that team. I just think there's not a winning formula, I think, to that team at all. So yeah, give me the Titans, but I think the Jags have been playing hard. I just think that they have a hard time trying to finish games out.
And what about you, Sammy? Who's your pick between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans?
I think the Jaguars defense, it's the whole team is right now a mess out there in Jacksonville. So I'm going to pick Tennessee. They're going to need this win a lot more than the Jacksonville Jaguars are because of how bad they performed against the Jets. And I think they know how bad they performed. So I think that's going to motivate them this coming week to beat the Jaguars.
So now, folks, let's talk about this next game coming up here. So now on to the late afternoon game. So let's talk about the Browns taking on the Chargers. So after it's going to be a short week for the Chargers, but I'm going to say give me the Cleveland Browns in this game because I really think that the Cleveland Browns are going to come into SoFi Stadium and beat the Chargers in this one. What about you, Ben?
I'm going to go Chargers. I think that this could be a game. I mean, the Browns are a good team. Don't get me wrong. But, I want to play underdog at times here and there. And give me the Chargers in a game where Cleveland has to go out west. Not always easy. And Chargers have a chance here. So I'm going to go with them in this one.
Yes, absolutely. So, folks, now let's talk about So let's go to Sammy on this one. Who is your pick between the Browns and the Chargers?
I think the Browns are going to continue the win streak. I think their defense is a lot better than the Chargers are right now. And I think right now, with how Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and they have those two running backs playing right now, I think they're going to outperform the Chargers' high-powered offense.
All right. So, folks, now let's talk about the Bears and the Raiders. So, basically, the Bears are coming into Las Vegas, and Justin Fields is probably going to be getting his second career start. The Bears blew out the Lions today. I said that if the Bears were to lose to Detroit, then Matt Nagy would have gotten the boot. But we keep underestimating the Bears and Matt Nagy. So I'm not going to go for the Bears in this one. Give me the Raiders to win this game. What about you, Ben?
Raiders and Bears. Sorry, I was on mute.
So who's your pick between the Raiders and the Bears?
Raiders. Yeah. Sorry, I was on mute before. I think just the Bears just have a bunch of issues. I think Fields is definitely their future, without a doubt. But when you have a guy, Matt Nagy, coaching you against a decent defense who's played actually pretty surprising this year, you're probably going to lose. So, yeah.
And then also, who is your pick to win between the Bears and the Raiders, Sammy?
As much as I want to pick Justin Fields because he's an Ohio State quarterback, I'm going to pick the Raiders. But I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. I don't think the Raiders are going to get as a consistent pass rush as other teams are. So I think that we'll see a lot more of Justin Fields, see how he is as a decision maker and as a passer. But I think I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people are going to think. But the Raiders are going to come out on top of it in that game.
And then the Cardinals are taking on the 49ers. So I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals. They are the hot team right now. And I think that the Arizona Cardinals are going to continue their upward progress. So give me the Arizona Cardinals in this one. What about you, Ben?
Between the Cardinals and
49ers.
49ers. Ooh. Depends where it is. Arizona's playing extremely well right now. So I'm gonna go Cardinals. They're playing at home. I really like Kyler. I really like that defense. Keep riding the wave. You're 4-0. Why not go 5-0? So I'm gonna go with them.
And then what about you, Sammy? Between Kyler Murray versus Trey Lance?
I'm going to go with Kyler Murray, just with how he's been playing. I'm not sure how Trey Lance is going to perform through a whole game stretch, but I'm going to go with Kyler Murray because I think right now he's performing like a top-tier quarterback.
And then let's talk about who's going to win between the Giants and the Cowboys. So that's going to be Fox's America's Game of the Week. Jason Garrett's going to go head-to-head against the Cowboys. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys in this one because I just think that they're playing so well right now. And I think that the Cowboys are definitely being back to being that top team in the NFC East. What about you, Ben?
Well, Cowboys and who?
Cowboys and Giants.
Cowboys and Giants. I assume it's at Cowboy Stadium?
Yes, it's at AT&T Stadium.
Okay. Cowboys. I don't know if this game will even be close. Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys have a great offense. Daniel Jones, the only way I see the Giants win is if Daniel Jones could throw for 3 consecutive, 250 plus. He's thrown for 2 consecutive 300 plus games, and he won against a really good Saints defense. So things could happen, but I think the Cowboys will win this game.
And what about you, Sammy?
I think it's going to continue with Trayvon Diggs. I feel like he has been the story of the Cowboys defense. Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons, the 2 rookies, really big hits for the Cowboys right now. And they have been, I think, one of the key reasons why the Cowboys are 3-1 at this point. Diggs with, I do believe, back-to-back 2 interception games. He has 5 for the season. And the Giants, I don't think are going to be that great on defense. So unless Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley again have another great game, like Ben said, I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely. So, anyways, folks, now let's talk about who is going to be on the call between who is going to win next Sunday night as the Buffalo Bills take on the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what? Give me the Kansas City Chiefs in this game because I really think that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are mad from losing 2 straight to the Ravens and Chargers. I think the Chiefs are definitely going to go on a win streak here. What about you, Ben? Since you're familiar, this is an AFC title game rematch. Who's your pick and why?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs in a shootout. This is going to be a game of no defense. Mahomes has thrown, I believe, an interception the last couple of games, which is surprising. So, the only way I see the Bills win this game is Mahomes just throws a bunch of turnovers. They just look out completely flat. You look at that Charger game, they've had some rough patches at Arrowhead lately, but they're going back to a place I think that they want to win back up again, and Sunday night crowd will be behind them. So give me the Chiefs in a shootout, like a 45-38 type of game. That's going to be a really fun one, an AFC title rematch game. Of course, Josh Allen will remember that game for sure, and we'll have to see who pulls out in that one, but give me the Chiefs.
All right, so folks, now let's talk about here. Sammy, who's your pick between the Chiefs and the Bills?
I'm gonna ride the hot hand with the Bills. Since the Steelers game, the closest game that they had was the Washington football team, and they beat them by 22 points. They beat a team by 35, 22, and next week 40 points. Right now, the Chiefs are struggling to play defense. Right now, they're struggling on taking care of the football with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And Patrick Mahomes, he's getting a little, he's turning over the ball a lot more than he was last year. So I'm going to take the hot hand with Buffalo Bills against the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, so now, folks, let's talk about this. So now let's talk about who's going to win Monday Night Football. The Colts are taking on the Ravens. So I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. I think that the Colts are struggling right now, but if the Colts win, it wouldn't surprise me. So, Ben, who's your pick between the Ravens and the Colts?
Ravens. The Colts did win today, but they definitely have had a lot of problems with the better teams. I'm not saying the Dolphins are a bad team, but it was a good win for them today. Don't get me wrong, but I think that a Monday night game, Colts going in there, hostile environment. Jackson, it looks like he's playing good football, good defense, but I don't know how much I really trust the Colts offense to be consistent in that one. Give me the Ravens.
All right. So what about the who's your pick, Sammy? Between the Colts and the Ravens.
I'm gonna go with the Ravens. Lamar. I'm not gonna count against Lamar Jackson right now with how he's been playing. I think a lot of people were expecting the Broncos to be a lot closer this week, and the fact that the Broncos got basically blown out, surprised some people. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens. They're playing better right now than the Colts are, and they're playing a lot more consistent.
All right. So, folks, with that being said, it has been a fantastic show. So, final thoughts and announcements. So, don't forget, Wild Sports Talk will be tomorrow after Monday Night Football, and again on Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. And then also Tuesday will be Sports Lounge if Cal Leclerc has time. And then Wednesday will be No BS with Isaiah Leong and Trevor Williams. So, final thoughts for me is that great night, but the Patriots just came up short. So, Ben, what was your final thoughts tonight?
Yeah, it was one of those days. Really enjoyed the Red Sox, of course. I of course kind of alleviated a little bit of pain from the game tonight, but well played game I thought from the Pats. Really good, well played game just as a whole. Good to see, of course, Tommy back and. Move on to next week. Of course, it's 17-game season. You have to remember that. So there's 14 games left. And it doesn't look good, but things have changed in football, and teams have had rough starts, overcame it. People just had rough starts, rough seasons. That happens. We'll see how it goes. And good show tonight, Sammy. Once again, it was great to do with you. Hopefully, we can get to do it on for the next couple of weeks here. Laura, thanks for having me, and look forward to talk with you on Tuesday, Laura, for Laura and Friends, and I'll talk more about the Patriots and, of course, other games going on, and, of course, start talking about the game against the Texans starting on Tuesday. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. What about your final thoughts, Sammy?
I'm pretty disappointed in how much money I lost this week, but I won in fantasy, so it makes up for it. Hopefully the Steelers next year, they are able to grab Aaron Rodgers, like the 20 media outlets are saying. So I have something to look forward to next year. But outside of that, I appreciate you, Ben, having you and Loro on the show. You guys having me on the show, I should say. And, John Mathis, and I want to thank the viewers for making this possible. And Loro, do you have any final thoughts?
So we have some comments here from Christy Wilson. She's picking the Cowboys to beat the Giants. And she also said defensively, don't sleep on Trayvon Diggs. I agree. And then Trayvon in his second year, Sammy, and she also is going for the Chiefs over the Buffalo Bills. So, folks, that's going to do it for Extra Point. For Sammy Sharp, Ben Kearse, and our producer, Stephen Wang, Loro signing off for now. Have a great rest of your night. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Wild Sports Talk as Adam Barber and Sammy Sharp, Isaiah Leong, and myself will be back tomorrow to recap Monday Night Football and more. Have a great rest of your night.
Yeah. I ain't choose the game chose me. I'm a champion, I need some trophy. I can draw the lane, I can shoot the three. I can run 100 yards, I can throw it deep. I ain't choose the game chose me. I'm a champion, I need some trophy. I can draw the lane, I can shoot the three. I can run 100 yards, I can throw it deep. I got what it take to be a champ. You know ball's life, you should come and join the camp. Title after title, put my rivals off the map. Thought you had the trophy till I came in for the snatch. I was born in it, not sworn in it. I ain't come to play, my wrist mean all business. Running like a mimic, check my jersey authentic. In Oakland